Episode 139, 5 types of people to surround yourself with.
You're listening to the very best podcast in the world on health, wealth, and happiness. Please remember to leave a review and share with all your friends and family. And here is your host, Lars Hilser.
And boom, we are live, and it's Thursday, and you're listening to the 139th episode of the very best podcast in the world, your only source in the universe for personal supremacy through health, wealth, and happiness. Welcome to 5 types of people to surround yourself with. And that doesn't go to say that you shouldn't have other people you surround yourself with, but you should put preference on these type of people. And the reason being that some people you can learn from, and then you share this knowledge with other people. And that's what I've been trying to communicate in this podcast, is that when you listen to an episode that was insightful in whatever way, shape, or form for yourself, and maybe it was just the title that was kind of revealing to you, and you immediately thought of a person. I think, it's more important than anything else to take the 10 or 20 seconds that it takes you to share this episode with them, and to put them in a situation where, they can actually learn from this podcast, as you perhaps have in one of the previous episodes, because you are a loyal subscriber. So, what we're going to go into today is something I came across and really spent a lot of time contemplating on, because I looked at my very small circle of friends and who I actually prefer to meet with, as opposed of those people, as acquaintances, for instance, people that you have to interact with, despite the fact that, they may be interesting to converse with. But what's the meaning of your relationship? Is it someone that gives you more input than you are willing to give? And brings us to the point of also sharing knowledge again, being one of the 5 types of people we're going to go through today. So without further ado, let's dive in and say kind of go over the 5 people. So we've got the inspired people, we've got the motivated people, we've got the open-minded people, we've got the passionate people, and we've got the grateful people that you want to surround yourself with. And most of these terms appear to be self-explanatory, right? The inspired person, for instance, someone that is inspirational to you, because they know you well, and they know what talents you have, despite the fact that you perhaps don't want to admit that you have those talents. And so it's their inspiration which then jumps over to you, to finally pursue your goals, which you may not even know were your goals, right? So for me, inspirational people during my teenage years, growing up in the Anglo-capitalistic United States of America, there were a lot of capitalists, which I admired and found inspirational. I would study their public appearances. I would read their books and, on how they became rich, only to later in life find out that, accumulating capital can only buy you so much time in life. Right? And then comes the point where you say, fuck, have I wasted a significant amount of my finite life, running the hamster wheel faster and faster to get money, only to trade it for time? No. My clear lesson learned in that case was no. I was chasing money for the sake of chasing money. I wanted more. I wanted to be more successful. I wanted to earn more money. I wanted more money to sustain my lifestyle. And then came a point where, I've repeatedly talked about that, where I said, okay, cut, I'm out. And that's when I said, time is the most valuable asset in the world. And that money wasn't a priority for me anymore. And then everything changed. And, I became a lot more relaxed. I became a lot more conscious. I became a lot more aware because I had time to be aware and to learn awareness and to understand the importance of the present moment and so on and so forth. So, however, these people, these inspirational figures for me were, in that part of my life, very important because they kept me going. And they brought me to the point in life where I am now, where I don't have to work if I don't want to, but I can sustain myself. And that's a very important lesson to be learned there. Then we've got the motivated people that you want to surround yourself with. The reason, I think, is kind of obvious, right? Getting yourself motivated is, for a lot of us, a very damning challenge. It takes a lot of energy to motivate yourself, particularly in these times when, it's like, why the fuck should I, get out of my tracksuit in the morning when I'm only going to be in my home office? There's no one there to show my neat clothes to and to present my new pair of shoes and my watch. And, nobody's going to see me anyhow from the waist down. So I might as well, just keep my jogging pants on when I'm on a video conference call. Right. And getting motivation from outside is insanely important, and whether that is someone close to you, as in your partner, or, a friend of yours that is just a motivational character, you should seek their presence. Because at the end of the day, it's like you will benefit from the motivation, no matter how small it may be. And there's actually, very motivational people which may be outside of your sphere of influence. For instance, I'm a very, very, very big fan of the fashion icon Karl Lagerfeld, and he's got a very quite controversial autobiography, movie, flick, documentary, whatever you want to call it out, called Lagerfeld Confidential. And I find this documentary insanely motivating because the guy is just so interesting, in that he, let's face it, he talks a lot of shit. But at the end of the day, he made it to probably the most flamboyant fashion icon on the planet in history, right? And he took the whole thing as a persiflage, nothing more, nothing less. And that's quite revealing about that film. So whatever your motivation is, whoever your motivator is in this case, surround yourself with them. And if it's, if you're in a down phase or, in an uncreative phase and you're like me with this example, put on that video, just watch that movie, watch that film that gets you going again, and motivate yourself that way by the people depicted in that movie. Next is the open-minded people. And, this is very interesting because if you come across someone that's open-minded and you understand why they're open-minded and the benefits of being open-minded and the lessons they have learned in life to get where they are, to understand and to comprehend why open-mindedness is important in life and gets you way further in life, they usually become rather dull. Because they have their point, you take that lesson away, and there's nothing that they can give you above this open-mindedness. So it appears, perhaps. But truth is that being around these people can stimulate very interesting conversations, in that this open mind that they have, and while you have adapted to a certain degree of that, a conversation or discourse with them can actually give you a lot of perspective, a different perspective only, perhaps, on a situation that you're in, right? But this open-mindedness is important to really be able to comprehend the bigger picture of a situation, right? These people are going to go a long way in your relationship because of the very broad view they have on things, the broad view you have perhaps lost because you've been intimately intertwined with the situation. And so, how everybody talks about the 4-eye principle, that 4 eyes see more, or two set of eyes see more than one, perhaps. That's the more literal translation. The people with an open mind will be able to see a very much wider scope than anyone else will. So these people are important to surround yourself with as well. The passionate people are really interesting because passion is the foundation of being successful, right? You can be, your 9-to-5 worker. You can have them, and not a lot of them are going to be very passionate about what they do. For them, it's their life's mission is to have an income and a secure income, and they don't want to change a lot of stuff in their life, and they're not necessarily going to be very passionate because at 5 they're just gonna tick out of the office, go home, go to their couch, binge watch Netflix or whatever, prep a meal or whatever it is at the end of the day that they do to keep themselves occupied, and that's that. Passionate people, they're very hard to be around, right? Because they're so excited about what they're doing always, and they convey that excitedness, that passion, in a way which can be exhausting, to keep up with their pace, particularly, if you want to have a discussion with them on that topic, because it's going to be tiring, but they've got such a deep understanding of the topic that they are interested in, the subject that they are interested in, that they're going to be able to inspire you to reach, a similar level of proficiency by, merely being passionate about it. And it's very interesting to be around those folks. Last but not least, we've got the grateful people. And I was just going to say the Grateful Dead for some stupid reason. And what's gratitude? It's gratefulness or gratitude. I think, is there even gratefulness? I don't know. Gratitude for instance, the situation you're living in, right? Be grateful of where you are. And that's something you have to learn, you have to understand, you have to comprehend that the situation you're in is nothing you can actually take for granted. The life you're living, your health, your status, your integrity, those are all things that you learn, and it's not anything to be taken for granted. So, waking up in the morning is something to be very fucking grateful for. A lot of people don't have that benefit. When this whole COVID thing started, I was looking at, how many people die per day. And the number was astounding. Of course, there are equal or even more people born per people that die. But the point is that, everything you have in life can be gone tomorrow. And the grateful people in this world kind of teach you not only that, but to get out of the hamster wheel and to learn how to appreciate, the stuff that you actually have. And again, I already mentioned it in this episode. There's a good, there's one thing in life that's finite, and that's time. That's, I think, one of the very few things you can be very grateful for. Of course, health plays a role. Happiness plays a role. But again, those are all things which are not granted, which you can't take for granted. So in that sense, if you are, thinking of someone right now that that may find inspiration or motivation or open-mindedness, passion, or gratitude in gratefulness, gratitude, whatever, I can't, write it per email to the very best podcast in the world at gmail.com, whether I'm right or wrong. And make sure to share this episode with, a person who can use it. And until then, I shall wish you a good day, a successful day. And if you already had your successful day, have a good night. And we'll be in touch tomorrow for Exercise Friday. And I'm still picking between two topics, whichever it's going to be at the end of the day. Peace out. Stay tuned. Peace out. See you tomorrow.